Okay, we're going to get to the final part of this course, the final lecture for this course, and this is the one on local government. And I've broken this lecture up into three parts. And the first part that we're going to be talking about is how governments, city governments are actually set up. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the types of incorporations that are available to cities, and they are available based on population. And depending on what kind of city or how you are incorporated as a city is going to determine how much you can do as a city and how much you're going to have to depend on the county to do many things for you on behalf of the city. We're going to be also going to be talking about the different types of governance structures. And this is saying, well, okay, we have a city, but what type of governance structure are we going to have within this city? Are we going to have a mayor for sure? Are we going to have a city manager? What kind of council are we going to have? How many people are going to be on the council? So those are the things that we're going to be talking about when it comes to local government, because it's going to be focusing on the city. You know, most people hate government. They say government's too big, government's too intrusive, except they tend to like local government because they say local government is really closer to the people, that we can actually affect what happens within our cities or our counties, and especially within our cities, especially through popular democracy that we talked about, which means like the petition drives and getting them on the elections, the recall elections. So there's different ways that people can get involved in city level government much more so than at the state level or the national level. So as I said, these levels of government are city and county and special districts, but we're going to be concentrating primarily on the city and a little bit on the county. So let's talk first about the cities. And I'm sure you've never thought about this, but how do cities come to exist? I mean, do you just set up shop there and say, okay, I'm going to be a city? Well, no, you have to ask the state. You have to petition the state to be able to incorporate as a city. And it pretty much depends on the population or the size of the population within a particular settlement, if you want to call it that. So if you have a population of 5,000 or less, the only type of city that you can incorporate it as is called a general law city. And so what happens is that it limits what they can do, what they can legislate. And because these cities are so small, it's usually the county, which is the larger jurisdiction, that has more say about what's going on in the city, much more so than what they can do in these general law cities. Most of our cities here in Texas are home rule cities, though. And so, again, the population is that you have to have over 5,000 in order to be able to petition the state to incorporate as a home rule city. And you get to adopt the type of charter, the type of city charter that you want. And people have to vote it in, and they vote that in by a majority vote, the 50% plus one. But the most important part is that each city gets to decide on what type of governance structure they want to set up in their city, and we'll be talking a lot more about the governance structures in just a little bit. All right, and as I said a little while ago, is that if you are a home rule city, you can participate in popular democracy or more direct democracy, and this is through the use of the initiatives, which is the petition to change. If the city council doesn't want to handle something, or you feel very strongly about something that the city council is doing, you can start a petition drive to say, we the people don't see it that way, we think it needs to go to a vote. So then the vote will go to, it's called a referendum. So the next go round where there's an election, that would be the referendum, where people can vote it in or vote it out. And as I told you when we talked about the Constitution, that the only way to remove a local politician is through a recall vote. And the recall vote basically works this way. You have to get the petition drive going again. You have to get enough signatures to say we want to get rid of this person. Then it goes to to an election, to a referendum, and then you have to vote the people out. That's how you get rid of a local elected politician. All right, let's talk about the forms of government. So if you are a home rule city, you will most likely have this council manager system of government. And so the way the council manager system of government works is that we have a city council, and the city council is the legislative body for the city. And so they are the ones that make the laws for the city, or the ordinances, and we talked about that already. For the city, they're called ordinances. And so the manager part of that means that there's a professional administrator that's hired by the city council to manage the city, to govern the city. And so the city council is the one that passes these laws, and it's the city manager who's going to implement these policies, these laws, and manage the city government. Okay, so this city manager is hired by the city council. So the city manager will serve at the pleasure of the council. And what that means is that if for some reason the city council members feel that the city manager is not following their directives, that he's not implementing the laws as they pass them in the city council, that he's not keeping, or he or she is not keeping them informed of what's going on within the city government itself, that they can get rid of that person. They can just fire them. And you know, the way the city manager occupation is, that profession, city managers usually serve anywhere from 3 to 4 years, and then they move on to a better city and make more money. Anyway, so the power of the city manager is derived from the city charter itself that I mentioned a minute ago, the Home Rule City Charter, and the ordinances that are passed by the council. That's the city manager's power base. But you have to remember that the ultimate decision making does rest with the city council. So it's very important for any city manager to have a good relationship with the city council. Otherwise, that city manager is going to wind up without a job. Okay, and then we elect in this one position called the mayor. And the mayor is elected, you know, from the whole city, and so, or usually is, they can be elected, selected from the city council, or they can be elected. Most of the home rule cities have an elected mayor, and so the mayor will preside over the city council meetings, and they have usually one a week. Depends on the size of the city, but it's usually every week. And the mayor may have limited or no veto power. Now, the mayor will have the same authority as the council, so it's not that the mayor is the one that calls all the shots. The mayor would be one to set the agenda and to run the meeting, but the mayor basically has the same legislative authority as everybody else that's sitting on the council. And a lot of times what happens is that the mayor will play a ceremonial role for the city. You will see the mayor at different events that somebody has to go and represent the city in some way. Like every time there's a function at this university, somebody from the city council, whether it be a mayor, the mayor pro tem, or a city council member, will come to one of our functions to say, yes, this city is supportive of our university. Okay, there was a reform movement a while back. And so this reform movement said, you know what, we need to make city government more professional. We need to make it more efficient, more business-like. Because what happened, especially in South Texas, it was the system of, oh, this my bud needs a job, my compadre needs a job, my homie needs a job. And so that's called boss rule, that somebody was hired because they needed a job, not so much because they could do the work. And so, so they wanted to make it more efficient and more business-like, to say, if you're going to run the city, you have to have the qualifications. You have to meet the criteria of somebody that's going to be working in the budget office. You have to have a degree in accounting or in public administration. You know, so the reform movement was to make cities more efficient, more accountable, more business-like. So the major criticism for this type of a governance structure is that the chief executive officer for the city manager, is not elected by the voters. So that there's positives to that, there's negatives to that, because the positives are, if this person is not doing a good job, he can be removed, he or she can be removed. If we voted him in, then that person becomes a politician again. So as I said, there's good parts and there's bad parts to every argument. Okay, the next system of government that I want to talk about is called the mayor-council system of government. So there's two in this part. There's the strong mayor system, and then there's the weak mayor system. So in the strong mayor system of government, or form of government, the mayor functions as the chief executive. And so the the chief executive will do these things. They will make the appointments to the different departments or the department heads. They will prepare the budget and they will manage all of city government. Now, in the council manager form of government, it is the city manager that does all of this. So the mayor takes the functions of what the city manager will do. Although in the strong mayor system of government, there are also people to help him out. There are some cities that have a strong mayor form of government, and it works very well for them. And so, one example would be like Houston. Houston has a strong mayor form of government, but that the Houston metropolitan area is so huge that a strong mayor system of government is probably needed more so than in a smaller area or a smaller city such as Corpus Christi. The mayor is also the legislative leader. It is the mayor that sets the agenda, that proposes any kind of policy changes or new laws that are going to be considered for the council to pass to affect the city. And the mayor may have the right to veto or not. It just depends on how their city charter is set up. Now, one of the criticisms of this type of strong mayor system is that there's too much power in one person. That particular person, depending on that person, that the ethics for that person, whether that person is going to function as a good strong mayor or not, but that position may become too politicized. And what that means is that a lot of times the services that we have in the city, like you see a lot of street construction going on. Well, it's not exactly city crew that are out there doing the like paving the streets or whatever, or it's usually contracted out in some way. And so when I'm saying that it's become too politicized, those contracts may go to someone not based on the fact that they are the best bidder for the job, the one that's going to do it and do it right. It may be because that person has connections to that strong mayor. So it may become too politicized to distribute these services fairly and efficiently. Okay, then we get to the weak mayor system of government. And so this one basically says that there is no leader, that everybody shares in the responsibility. So it lacks unified lines of authority. So the mayor and the council share the administrative authority, they share the legislative authority. Power is very decentralized. And decentralized just says there's no everybody. It's too easy to point the finger saying, I thought you were going to take care of it. No, I thought you were going to take care of it. So it's everybody is sharing in the power. So accountability becomes an issue. Accountability becomes an issue in this weak mayor system of government. Okay, I want to show you this chart, and it's going to explain what I'm talking about. Look at the council manager form of government. Okay, we the people vote in the city council. We the people vote in the mayor. Now the mayor, according to this one, appoints the city is responsible for the city manager, as well as the city council is responsible for the city manager. And the city manager is the one that's responsible for all of the departments, for all of the department heads in the city government. Okay, that's the council manager form of government. Now look over on the right side where it says strong mayor council form of government. Now you see the voters vote in the mayor, the voters vote in the council, but look at all of the little arrows. All of the little arrows are pointing from the mayor to all of the department heads. You point with the approval of the council all of the department heads. So that's the strong mayor form of government. Now right below that is the weak mayor council form of government. And so if you see that that the voters will vote in the council, the voters will vote in all of the other officials, the voters will vote in the mayor, and so both the mayor and the city council will have equal responsibility over all of the heads of the department. So you can say that the strong mayor form of government, it's much more hierarchical, or there's lines of authority, where the weak mayor system of government, there are no lines of authority. It's more of a flat hierarchy, or what they consider a flat hierarchy. Don't worry about the commission form of government because we're not going to cover that.